Okay, let me get to the job here. Working in a small section of roof here. All right, how are y'all doing? Today we're going to do a little video on flashings. We'll cover some sealants. And all right, so what do we got here? Okay, we're up to the wall abutment. This is a head wall here. This is a head wall. If you look here, this would be a sidewall. So this rake edge is coming up here, and there is step flashing for every shingle that touches the wall. There's an individual piece of step flashing, and it looks like this. So you got a shingle, step flash, shingle, step flash, single, step flash, alternating. And you can, this is the best way to flash what we would call a sidewall, okay? Now for a head wall, we're gonna use kind of the same thing, except that you can use a piece of stick metal for the head wall. It's not ideal to use stick metal, and if you're a homeowner, you'd think, well, why don't you just put one piece of flashing in and shingle up over it? It is possible when you put in metal on a wall abutment, and this is where the shingles go, that water can get in and get underneath this flashing, where when you have shingle, step flashing shingle, you know, you're putting nails in, your shingles come across and nail up to it. You're pinching this down. It is very, very difficult for anything to get underneath this. This metal is too short to flex really too much. And this is pretty rigid metal that we're using. I'm guessing this is gotta be at least 26, possibly 24 gauge. It's pretty thick, 26 gauge. With metals and the gauges, thickness, thinness, the bigger the number, the thinner the metal. Not the other way around. This piece of counter flashing, it's got some dust and stuff on it. It's been in the truck for a while, but we'll put it on, and it's the same color, charcoal. So we like to color match our flashings, and I do not like to use spray paint. Roofers are not painters, I know that at this point. So I'm gonna put this together, just show you guys how it goes. I have cut these two last pieces of shingles. I don't really have to put these in. I'm gonna put them in. I'm gonna put them in because I would like to put something as close to that wall as I can, and then I would like to caulk it so that it's so that water can't get in. If you seal everything going up through your flashings, you're greatly reducing the chance for a leak. But as you can see, if we put this guy in here, that last shingle's not really going to even be seen. Now you can see here, right? But we're going to also put what's called a beauty course over the top of this metal to hold it down and conceal it. Okay. Now I'll just do this fast. Most of the time, there's 3 ways of doing this, and if you want to put it in a good, better, best category, and I don't really consider the first one good. I don't really consider the first 2 good, but I don't know how else you describe it. So you put this metal in, and then you nail it down with a bunch of nails. Well, that doesn't look good, and that does come up over time. Now, the next thing guys will do for a beauty course is they'll get up to the top and they'll take a shingle and they'll cut it like this because it covers the metal. And then they'll nail the shingle with a bunch of nails. That's only marginally better, okay? It would actually be better if you were just gonna leave the metal exposed to use these self-sealing screws like that. And these are gray anyway, and they've got a seal grommet, right? So you screw them down, you put a nail or put a screw every, I don't know, 4 to 10 inches maybe. I don't ever finish them that way unless it's on a flat roof. So I'm not gonna show it that way. But the way that we want to do it, get these shingles here. is that we take ridge shingles, actually take ridge shingles and cut them right down the middle. Now this is an IKO shingle. This is pretty much the only shingle I use unless a customer just demands to have some different type of shingle. IKO is the brand. Nordic is the specific style. It's a dimensional shingle. It's a class 4 impact resistant shingle, which means it stands up to hail. It's at least golf ball size, and I have seen it do that. So no damage hit by hail. But and the nice thing also about IKO is they put a little notch here. So that tells you when you're putting your ridge cap on, you just stay to that notch, and that's your exposure, okay? But when you do it this way, let me grab this other pack here, I'll show you, is if you cut these shingles down the middle, okay, I don't think these are the same, but if you cut them down the middle, you end up with a right and a left. And I like that because what I like to do is start at one end on either side and run the shingles back. Now, run them back to the middle, wherever the middle is of this piece. The nice thing about doing it this way, well, I don't want to say the nice way. The nice thing is that every shingle you put in is 2 nails, okay? And then you take another shingle, it overlaps that shingle, and again 2 nails. So you're putting 2, 4, 6, I think we have 10 pieces to get to the center, I believe, and then we'll have a center cap. These nails will not be exposed because they get covered, but by the time you get to the middle of this run of metal here, you're going to end up with, you know, a center. You're going to have to put a center piece on, okay? So you're going to get up to the middle, wherever the middle is. I'm not saying that's the middle, but just for video's sake. And then you can cut this piece off. You can nail it. You know, obviously you're going to keep coming until, you know, you don't want the glue strips exposed, right? So you're going to end up in the middle, and your last piece, the little cap you put in the middle. Now this piece, I am going to put 4 self-sealing screws in it rather than nails, okay? And that'll finish off this piece of metal, okay? So we could almost just call that a beauty course video right there. And but I'm not going to, it took so much to set this shot up that I'm not going to do that. So this will be an extra long video. Maybe we'll just cut it in half. Alright, so let me go ahead and put this together. Oh, so this is our last course. Back to the wall. Here's my next shingle break is here. So I can put this guy here, and then I can put a piece to the end. This piece is a little red because I popped a line on it and cut it with a grinder rather than mess around with it. Also, the guides on this, you can see there's a line right here in the shingles. That's where your edge needs to cover to, and your nails are back up in here in this nail line. Okay, so they're still tucked back up in there. This course, it doesn't matter how many times, you know, how much you nail it. Really, you're not going to see these fasteners. Okay, so just nail them down. They get covered by the metal. And yeah. Put our last piece back to the wall. Kind of eyeball it, you know, mark it a little bit here. Take a hook blade. I don't know that we've talked about this either, but when we're roofing, we're using hook blades. So it's got a hook like that, and I have a straight blade here. So you see a hook blade and a straight blade. Now, if you go to cutting shingles with a straight blade, you're going to cut through everything, okay? It's really hard to control that. And this was a really great design somebody came up with, and you can put it on the shingle, and you can just, you actually can pull up a little bit as you pull this way, okay? So you can not cut through things below that. All right. this guy upside down. Gap's a little bit bigger here. Oh, nope, it's not. I'm just not paying attention. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now, that makes us have very little of a break right there on the wall. And I can caulk that. Now, I tend to overbuild things that I'm working on. So, you don't necessarily have to do this. But I like to warranty my jobs as long as somebody owns a property. I mean, I have obvious exclusions like, yeah, eventually the roof's going to wear out or tree or whatever is going to happen. It's going to fail for some reason that's not my labor. But, I don't close the door on people to call me and say, hey, we've got a roof problem. I met a lady last week that just got a roof in September and has leaked ever since the installation. And the guy came back and 3 times and charged her 3 times. I don't even know how he charged her. I don't know what the point of the warranty was, but charged her 3 times to come back out. Still hadn't fixed it. I'm fixing that one tomorrow. But we'll talk about sealants real fast. This is the brand that I use called Lexel. They actually make Big Stretch, and if you've watched my other videos, you know I do masonry. So Big Stretch is what we use on the ground. Lexel is what we use on the roof. I don't like using colored sealants because on a roof, the colored sealants are really good. I mean, they are really the color, and they don't ever fade. And a lot of times, I've noticed from the ground, you can see the sealant on the nail heads, like this bright, whatever brown color, whatever color it is that you're trying to match, because the shingles are that color, and that's the reason they make them, or the reason guys use them. I have found that clear sealant is shiny the day you do it, and then it starts to dull out, and it kind of almost disappears. You just don't really see it. So I got tired of fiddling with color and just went to this. Now, I started using Lexel. I didn't know they were the same manufacturers of Big Stretch, and I was just really impressed with them. Also, they come in a plastic tube instead of a paper tube. I don't want to dog on the Henry brand. I think Henry's a good product. I will use it. I don't have a problem with it. If these get wet, you pretty much throw them away. These get wet, no problem. Also, it's kind of nice. They make these so that you can unscrew them, pop it here. It's just kind of nice instead of having to worry about, can you stab it down in there and headaches. So these are the sealants that I like to use. Let's keep moving here. Okay. So, new tube of sealant. Finish out this line. And let's go. It's good when you're using these sealants if you can keep them warm. If they're cold, you might have carpal tunnel by the time you're done caulking a line. They get really hard to get out of the stick. So usually I'll stick this on the floorboard or dashboard and turn the heat on. It's a little chilly here right now in Denver. Smooth that into place. That's a good idea. I don't like to just, people just caulk stuff and think it's stuck there. It's really not, even though it's pretty sticky. You really want to smooth your caulk out. Okay. Okay. Now, we're going to put this metal in, but a good idea, first thing you want to do is check that how you're lining up. Okay, that's okay. That's livable right there. That wouldn't create a problem. I'm going to come over this side with some flashing as well, so I'm going to call that good. That looks great. Like it. Okay. Now you can caulk this, or you can caulk that, or you can caulk the metal. But it is wise to add sealants to these metals so that they are also chemically fastened to the area. So there is chemical fastening, which is glue, and there is mechanical fastening, which is a nail, a screw, or a lead anchor. And that Them's the ways to connect something. All right, so you've glued them on the bottom side. Pick it up, put it into place. You'll also maybe notice the degree. Some of you dorks out there watching, that's a 90-degree bend. This is opened up a little bit. It's a 120-degree bend. Now I could have gotten 90-degree, but there is a slope on this. Okay. So what happens with the 120-degree metal, this is what I like about it, is that you can push it up, and it's almost spring-loaded now. It's tight, super tight, okay? We'll put a nail in the middle, all right? And then this metal, it's a little thinner, and it will buckle. So I highly recommend, if you're gonna nail it, nail the middle and nail one way, or nail one side and go one direction. Okay, so I'll put one in the middle, and we're gonna come and we're gonna go boom, 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 boom. And the same thing this way. Boom, 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 boom. Watch your hands, slow down, right? There you go. Okay, now that's on. So it's got glue here, it's got glue here. That's great. The last thing that we'll do, and I'm not going to show this because I've already got another video of this going in, how to put in counter flashing. Counter flashing, either head wall or step flashing. Head wall and step flashing are kind of a sub flashing below, right? Here is your final flashing. This is a wall mount flashing. You can pick it up, so like, you know, you don't want to see this. Okay, pick it up, get it up above that. Try to make sure the gaps are lining up. There's nothing you can do about the brickwork, but you can eyeball it and cheat it a little bit here and there. I'm gonna do the same thing with this. I'm gonna actually put the sealant here, and then I'm gonna put it on the wall, and then I'm gonna attach it to the wall. Now, this is a sand brick, so you have to deal with how do you affix something to the sand brick. The best way generally is a lead anchor, which means that you have to drill through the metal and the hole, and you have to drill through the metal and into the brick, and then put the anchor in and tap it in until it locks. Okay, it's an expansion anchor. It's got like a nail pin, drives through this thing, and it flanges. All right, it's gonna flare out. You don't want to be in a mortar joint. Again, I do masonry work, masonry restoration. Sand brick is already a super soft brick, and the mortar is super, super soft. And a lot of times, if you get into these joints, they just fall apart on you and nothing happens, and that's worse. So I recommend, when you're doing it, if you're going to do it this way, and a lot of roofers won't. A lot of roofers will just take a nail gun, especially in Denver. I mean, the competition, I don't even really consider them competition because they're so bad at this, but they will just boom, 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 pop nails in it. You can do that. Okay, you can do that, but I've come behind that and seen what the damage is when they do that. When you shoot it in there, it actually blows up the brick. So it's better to go easy with that kind of stuff. And I already did one wall abutment up above, and I had success with these screws. So the screws were actually going in, and as long as you don't overdrive them, you could get them tight. And if you're using a combination of sealant and fastener, it should be stuck to the wall. Okay, I mean, it's stuck to the wall enough that I'm going to warranty it, but I will try to actually anchor it. But we're not going to do that because that would take a long time for a video. All right, so again, we got our left pieces, right? And that looks good there. And 2 nails, 1, 2. This is a righty. This is a righty, righty, lefty. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times I've come in behind, looking at an old roof, and the head wall flashing is just peeled up. You know, I can watch it happen over time on houses I drive by. Okay, let's go this way. Now, Always sealing everything as you go. Seal anything that you can possibly seal while you're building the roof. It is far easier and better to seal this up now rather than have a potential leak. Okay, this is a corner. Corners are kind of a, you can't get in and around things, so you just got to do the best you can. On this wall abutment, I don't see you seeing in the video, but this wall abutment, we actually had to take this piece of 1x, hold it up there, cut a line on the siding, because the siding was so beat up at the roof line that it wasn't even functioning for what it, it wasn't functioning as a counter flashing, because usually you can clip behind siding. Like on new houses, you don't have to really do too much in the counter flashing, but most of the things I fix are 100 years old. Okay, now for extra points, we're gonna notch this like that. Yeah, so we'll cut a little notch and try to get this super tight into the wall. This is the world's worst razor. All right, and let's go ahead and put some in there. There. And again, nobody's gonna see this. This is the kind of stuff that homeowner's not gonna see it. Nobody's gonna see it. It's just your own detail. How good do you want to make it? How nice do you want things to look and function?